My name is Ray Kuhl. I'm CEO of PBSI Technology Solutions. I'd like to welcome you to this fast-paced and hopefully informative demonstration and discussion about Dragon Medical, which as CEO of a technology company, personally, I believe is the single best tech product on the planet. So that's me saying what I really think about Dragon Medical. We have hundreds of providers using Dragon Medical. It works every time. And the key things that we're going to discuss today are what are the features that are particularly important in helping folks use Dragon effectively. So some of you, thank you very much, are long-term clients. You've been using Dragon for years and you want to see what's new, what's different, how does the cloud version vary. Some of you, this is your first exposure to PBSI and to Dragon Medical. You're in for a treat. Most of what we'll do today is straight demonstration of Dragon and you'll see how it works. Quickly, what are the new features in version 4? I'll demonstrate version 4, which is the preeminent desktop edition, and I'll demonstrate shortly Dragon Medical 1, the cloud version. Both are very similar. So diving in, Dragon Medical is manufactured and distributed worldwide by Nuance, who's a public company, and they've created a product over the years that is the preeminent voice recognition product really across all boundaries, but particularly in the medical space. Their products are used embedded in products from other companies, Apple and Ford, and all kinds of folks use the technology created by Nuance. Dragon Medical is specifically for healthcare, and you'll see exactly why I say this. Wonderful technology. PBSI is by far in Ohio, Kentucky, and Indiana, Nuance's largest authorized partner and reseller, and our goal and our focus is to help folks implement and effectively use and improve clinical productivity. No matter what EHR is being used, we do online training, we do on-site training. You'll see today we've learned a lot about how to make Dragon work well, and I'll go through some of the really key things. So for those of you who are using a previous version of Dragon, version 4, which was released within the last several months, is significantly faster. It's hard to notice speed changes, but we noticed the change with version 4. I won't bore you with details about the interpretation engine and how Nuance has told us that the technology works, but context interpretation is better. Browser support for Chrome and Windows 10 and Office current versions, all solid. Dragon auto training has improved and error correction has improved, as well as Microsoft microphone source detection. So if you switch microphones, that process is very easy or easier now than it used to be. And there no longer is any new voice training. You pick up Dragon, you start speaking, and you've answered 5 questions in advance. And Dragon starts getting things immediately. And you'll see that. Touchscreen security features have been improved, but basically the key is not that Dragon is better than it used to be. The key is that Dragon is excellent. So I'm now going to do a software demonstration. On the right-hand side of your screen, you see a picture of a couple of microphones. This PowerMic 3, this is the current microphone. Some of you use a PowerMic 2. Functionally, it's identical. No reason to upgrade from a 2 to a 3. The 3 is thinner and lighter, but functionally identical. The things that we're going to use, 90-some% of all providers use this PowerMic instead of a headset mic or Bluetooth, or there are lots of other microphones that are available, but the benefits of this PowerMic are in simplicity of use. So there's an on and off button, there's a next field and previous field button, there's a couple other buttons that we use, but we're not using a lot of buttons. We're simply picking up this microphone, speaking into it, and you'll see how it works. That's the microphone I'll be using. You can use iPhones and Androids and with the right software and so forth, but I'm going to be using a PowerMic today, and I'm going to dive into demonstrating. So from this point, I'm going to be going back and forth from this slide to Microsoft Word. I'm demonstrating inside of Word, although most of you dictate directly into your EHR. And I'm going to talk about some templates. It's quite obvious to anybody who picks up Dragon Medical that the voice recognition is excellent, and that includes clinical interpretation. And I'll do a bit of demonstration, and then I'm going to use a template. So I'm going to do that now, starting demonstrating. What Dragon does is it produces text at the cursor. So I'm picking up my PowerMic and I'm ready to press the on button. If you haven't maximized your screen, you might want to do that because this text will appear small, but notice where my cursor is in the very bottom right-hand corner of my screen. This is Dragon. That red microphone is Dragon not listening to me. My cursor is here in my Word document. I'm now going to press my on button on the Dragon microphone. It will turn green and you'll see how it works. Patient is a 47-year-old male presenting today for hernia evaluation, period, new paragraph. Patient's BP is 210/180, and I'm really concerned about medication dosage, especially Hyzar oral in combination with Lipitor 20 milligrams BID, period. New paragraph. Okay, so far you've seen Dragon gets context really, really well. Now I'm going to use a template. So here's something where there are folks we know who use Dragon Medical and they see how it works and picks up their voice, but they never learn to use templates. And there are various names: templates, shortcuts, commands, all synonymous with the same thing. I'm going to use one now. Normal exam. Okay, so normal exam simply is a couple of words. There's nothing special about the word normal or exam. It's just I've given a name to this set of text. And now this could have been bolded and underlined. I can have format that's pre-stored, and it's a really good idea to do that to avoid having to say bold that and underline that. But basically, I used this template. Now I'm going to use the select command. So another thing that is on my key things to learn, the select command. If you ever hear, which rarely happens anymore, a provider who says, yeah, I use Dragon, but it's hard to fix text, what I hear is, here's somebody who needs to learn what I'm about to say about the select command. The select command is how you edit text with your voice. It works beautifully. You have to use it with a couple of specific understandings. First of all, decide what you're going to select before you say. So I don't say select and then look around on the screen and say, where was the thing I wanted to select? Because that will result in a pause too long between the select command. And I'm always going to look for at least two words. I'm not going to look for just the word sounds or even just the word vowel. The risk of the fact that that word might be in more than one place in my text is too great. And when I give it 2 or 3 words, Dragon will always find what I'm trying to correct. So I'm going to turn my microphone on and use the select command. Select regular rate and rhythm. Irregular heartbeat. All caps that. All bold that. Bold that. Okay, so go to bottom. So you see that it automatically knows the last thing I spoke, so I don't have to select that before I bold it. I can simply say bold that. And I said select that. So it's very easy to make changes. You need to learn a few commands. So by the time we get very far along, you might say, oh my gosh, there's so many commands to learn. That is not the case. You learn between 5 and 10 commands and you have everything you need to use Dragon effectively. So 1, learn the select command. It is really fantastic at finding text to fix it. Okay, so now I'm going to use a template that has next field in it, which is another really useful thing, because although what I did here saying normal exam or whatever my normal text is, that happens frequently. There are all kinds of examples, but almost always there are places where I need to stop and ask it to, ask me a question there, or here what I'm doing is I'm creating with a left and right bracket and a left and right bracket. I'm creating variables in this template, in this text. So now if I had spoken this today and customized it, and I spoke all this and I said to myself, I want to save this for future use, I can create a new template on the fly. So I'm going to do that now. And the command I'm going to use is make that a shortcut. So make that a shortcut is one of the commands you learn, because once you've spoken this information, you said, yeah, I don't want to ever have to say that again. I'm now going to store it as a command. So I'm going to select this, and now I'm going to use my voice. The command name is called make that a shortcut. I'm going to do that now. Make that a shortcut. Irregular heartbeat template. Irregular heartbeat template. Click Save. So you can hear I have a frog in my throat. Doesn't matter to Dragon. Excuse me, I moved my cursor manually. I shouldn't have done that. What happens when I said that command, make that a shortcut, is Dragon took everything that I had selected and opened up the screen to create a new template, and the cursor stopped in the name field, and I gave it a name with my voice, irregular heartbeat template. And so then when I said click save, I used another command, which is the click command. So click allows you to execute cursor commands any place with your voice. So I could say click bold or click format painter or anything on the screen that looks like a button or a link. You'll see me use this again. You can use the click command. So I'm demonstrating multiple things together. Now I have my dictation in process, and I want to use that new template that I just created. So I'm going to demonstrate this a couple of times so you'll see the difference between a template and text. The patient was here today and experienced my irregular bowel template. Select irregular bowel template. Doggone it, what did I call that template? So now I'm realizing, doggone it, I don't remember the name of the template that I used. So I'm going to use another command. Again, it's on my list of what can I say, key things we want to learn. And in order to execute this, my command is called open command browser. It tells me what the names of my templates are. So I'm going to do this now. Open command browser. So open command browser in alphabetic order tells me all the templates that I have saved. And I know I called it something that starts with the word irregular. If I could spell, I'd be, irregular heartbeat template. Okay, fine, that's what it was. So now I'm going to redo this. Patient was here today and experienced my irregular heartbeat template, period, new paragraph. Irregular heartbeat template. Okay, what's the difference between what I did? The difference is here I used those words in a sentence, and Dragon said, I'm interpreting your voice and it's just more text. Here I paused and said irregular heartbeat template, and Dragon said, let's check first if this is the name of a template or a command before we try and interpret text. So that's one thing that's been done. Now the second thing that's been done is, since I saved in this template a couple of fields, Dragon immediately goes to the first field, and now I can speak with my voice and use a button on my microphone to go to the next field. Unusual. Abnormal. Select abnormal. All caps that. Go to bottom. Okay, so a couple of things that I've done. I'm going to come back and summarize. These are some really important items that I have gone through. Know that you can have templates or commands. Know that you can use the select command to change text. Know that you can fill in, have templates that have next fields, including defaults in those fields. Know that you can create new templates anytime you want, make that a shortcut, and that you can find existing templates by open command browser. When you know how to find whatever's out there and create new ones, and you know how to dictate and change your text, you have the most important things in Dragon down. So these are not a million different commands. In addition to these commands, there are formatting and navigation commands. So formatting commands, bold, underline, italicize, those are straightforward. And then the navigation commands, go to bottom, go to top, end of line, and so forth. Not a lot of unique things to remember. Now I'm going to demonstrate some other features, and I'm doing this quickly and talking quickly because there's content. I just want to be efficient and have you see some of these features at work. So I'll go to my Word document, and let's get rid of some of this text. And I'm going to use a template within a template. So here's how this works. My referral letter. With symptoms of hemophilia. Normal ROS. normal exam. It's difficult to assess the needs of this patient as I'm not really a physician, period. We'll continue medication of Lipitor 20 milligrams BID, and so forth. So you can see it's stopping where the cursor wants to stop, and then I can use template names, and then I can use the select command anytime I want to say, select urinary system denied. Sorry, I had my microphone turned off and on at the wrong time, so I'll turn it on now. Select urinary system denied. Undo that. Urinary system, unusual condition. Select line, all caps that. Okay, so a couple of things you note here. I'm not an MD, but you can include graphics with your template. So this letter could actually be a letterhead with all the graphics that are associated with the letterhead, and then fill the blanks in. So the creation and use of templates is really, really useful. And let me say that what I'm demonstrating is not typical of Dragon's real use. Dragon's effective use isn't to do exams and reviews of systems. With most systems today, you're using your EHR to click in those places. Where Dragon shines is doing the HPI, identifying the assessment and the plan and the things that are really custom for this patient. So we might have a completely custom assessment, or we might have a standard assessment that then we put a lot of text into. It's the places where we type. That's where we want to use Dragon. Okay, a couple other features real quickly. Internet search. I'm going to use Dragon to search the internet. So some providers don't really want to do this, but if you may want to do some research yourself, or you want to answer a question for a patient. So right now I'm in the middle of Microsoft Word. I could be doing anything on my PC, and I'm going to do an internet search, and the format is search website name for condition name, and I'll show you how it works. Search up to date for insomnia. So what it did is it found the clinical website up to date. It put in the search criteria, and here it displayed on the screen. Now I can continue in using the click command. Click overview of the treatment of insomnia in adults, and so forth. Anything that appears to be a link on the screen, I can click. Anything that appears to be a button on the screen, I can use the click command. So I just did an internet search and used the search command again. Interesting feature. And if you use Dragon, this has been embedded in Dragon for some time now. Try it today. Okay, another key thing, and then this will be the last major feature that I demonstrate. It's called hidden mode, or another name for it is dictation box. So what happens here is I'm inside my EHR, and I want to be looking at various parts of this patient's chart. So I want to be moving my cursor around and going to different tabs, and I don't want to have to keep coming back to my place in my dictation to keep coming back and putting the text there. So I'm just clearing out some space here. Let's say I want to put some information in this spot right here about preparing for today's encounter. So I'm going to go do a chart review. I'm not really going to look at the chart because I don't have an EHR open in front of me, but I'm going to act like I do. I'm going to start by pressing a button on my microphone, which opens up the dictation box, or what I'm going to call hidden mode. When this box is open, instead of producing text at the cursor, Dragon now accumulates the text in this box. So I might now go look at the previous exam for this patient. Previous exam revealed unusual symptoms that may require referral to a cardiologist, period, new paragraph. Now I'm going to turn my microphone off. I'm going to go and look some other place in the chart. Previous results show that cholesterol has been increasing at a significant rate, period. We need to schedule additional cholesterol testing, period, new paragraph. And then I go someplace else. I want to make sure and ask the patient about his mother who was sick last time we visited. And finally, I'm going to use, I can do this with a button, or I can use my voice, transfer text. So you can see I've spoke the word referral twice. So again, I could say select referral and replace it with referral, or I could use my cursor. So you can see how this works. Very, very clean. And this feature, if a provider doesn't use it, doesn't know it's there, they will be going back to the same spot in their EHR and returning out and coming back. And so these little things are worth a lot. We find we're doing free training for the Cincinnati Academy. They're Dragon users next week, I believe it is. And and some of you connected are providers. Hopefully you feel this is some really good refresher training, or maybe there's some new things that you hadn't known before. So another thing I'm going to demonstrate, and then I'll be done with features, is Dragon has gotten really good with dictation being, quote, butchered. I'm going to butcher some dictation right now. You'll see what I mean. Patient is a 62-year-old male who's here today for evaluation of an elongated prostate, period. So it doesn't always do perfectly, but you can see pauses, ands, different speech patterns that are, you think, how does Dragon know what the heck this person is trying to say? I'm not really sure the answer of how it knows, but the fact is I see that it does know. So with your profile, store repetitive formatting, use a roaming profile, meaning don't have your voice profile stored on just one machine. This can be set to have an internet location, even with the boxed version of Dragon, so that when you update your voice profile with something that it learned, it's stored and recognized on all the PCs. So also power mics. The microphone actually needs to be programmed a bit with some simple things. The on-off button comes out of the box set to push to talk. So there's no expense. There's simply some expertise, and we know to do this for every Dragon we set up next in previous field buttons on the microphone. So a little bit of expertise really helps make effective use of Dragon. So I'm going to move now and talk about Dragon Medical One. It's a different product. Essentially, the functionality is the same, and I'm going to load Dragon Medical One. I probably should close Dragon Medical. They do actually operate together on the same machine, but so Dragon Medical One is the cloud version of exactly what I just demonstrated. The cloud version is a monthly subscription license, and it starts with the same recognition engine, but it's actually a different product. So Dragon Medical One is loading, and you'll see on my screen, it'll prompt me for my password. It knows who I am. And I'm waiting for it to load. Oh, you know what? I started Dragon Medical again. Pardon me. This was my mistake. Okay. I haven't started Dragon Medical One at all, but I'm going to do that now. Okay, so here Dragon Medical One is loading, and it prompts me for my username, for my password, and it logs me in and it says, what microphone do I want to use? I'm going to use PowerMic Mobile. I could use the PowerMic just like I've been using before, but now I'm going to use my iPhone as a microphone. So it's expecting now my iPhone to connect. So right now I'm picking up my iPhone, I'm pushing on an application called PowerMic Mobile. It remembers my password since this is a personal device, and I'm now logged in. And Dragon Medical One now knows that I'm logged in, and this red color tells me that it knows I'm here and my microphone's turned off. So very similar, I'm going to push a button on my iPhone now. Patient is a 65-year-old female presenting today for annual exam, period. New paragraph. New paragraph. Normal ROS. Select blood denied. Scratch that. Select blood denied. Interesting. I'm not sure what happened to the select min. Didn't seem to work for me well, but trust me, it does, because both of these use the same engine. So you can see it works the same way. The basic differences are the connection to the voice profile is always in the cloud. Dragon Medical One monthly subscription. Dragon Medical One gets regular updates, and the subscription version is more expensive, and it lacks a few features, they will catch up. Both of these products are worth consideration. For most practices, the boxed edition is the preferred choice because it's got the largest feature set and is most mature, and simply is a better financial investment. That may change over time, but we sound support both of these products. I won't demonstrate more right now, but I want to talk briefly, because we'll be finished in 5 minutes, about how you fix the real main problems with Dragon, and that is that folks underutilize it. A bit of training. So for somebody who's used Dragon a long time, simply attending this session, I would hope, would cause somebody to say, okay, yeah, these are things I never learned, or these are things I remembered and I haven't used, so now I'm going to improve my productivity by a half hour this week, or an hour this week, because I'm going to use some of these features. What really works, two things, they're alternatives: one-on-one on-site training, trainer standing behind a provider, provider's got the microphone, provider, instead of watching like you're doing here, the provider's actually doing the work, and the trainer's saying, now do this, try this, do this. And that really works. We generally recommend 2 sessions for a provider. The first session, they virtually always do great. Trainer comes back, says, we did some live dictation, we put a business associate agreement in place, everything's great. Without a second training session, we found some percentage of the time that folks just didn't develop into their workflow. They didn't continue to use it, and they're, quote, frustrated, or they're not using it, and what the heck. So we have learned over time that scheduling a second training session, and the second one might be online instead of on site, where now same thing, provider's got the microphone, and there was accountability established at the end of the first session where provider says, okay, I'm going to agree to use this at least a half hour a day, or at least 3 patients a day. Some providers just go off and start doing all patients right away. People are different in their adoption practices, but knowing that the trainer's going to be back, or they've got a meeting scheduled a week and a half or 2 weeks from now, the second session, instead of starting, what did we talk about last time? It starts, okay, I have some questions. This has been working, this hasn't been working, tell me again about this. And we find 2 sessions, somebody's really off and running, and their productivity long-term is well worth the investment, a little bit of training. So every provider who uses Dragon, unless they're very unusual, we have a lot of providers who say, oh, I know that, no problem, I use this, but they really don't know some of these features. They think they know everything they need to. So recommendation, recommend and encourage providers to get a little bit of training, even if it's once a year, once every 3 years, a bit of a refresher. So training is really important, which is where PBSI comes in. What does Dragon Medical cost? So the boxed edition, $1,599. This is universally priced. No reseller can advertise a different price, and you can only get Dragon Medical through authorized resellers. We do discount for webinar attendees, so we're allowed to discount. We're not allowed to advertise the discount. And then you add a power mic, you add a couple of training sessions, one on site, one online, you're going to spend $2,400. Figure you're going to add in the next 5 years another upgrade. Figure you'll spend $3,000 over 5 years. That results in a net of $50 a month. That's the way to look at this. It's like buying a PC. You don't think of it as a expense that's in place that year. You think of it as an investment that's going to be used for several years, and that's the way it is with Dragon. $50 a month, $12.50 a week, ridiculously low cost in comparison with what it can do. Dragon Medical One, there's a one-time implementation fee, and then depending on it's anywhere from $79 to $123 a month, depending on whether you're a previous user and where you fall into the spectrum. So either of these products, you look at a 5-year analysis, and the Practice Edition clearly is less expensive, and so it's a question of economics, and there's some other details that we're happy to discuss with anyone. So hopefully in today's session, you've learned the most important key features of Dragon Medical. We're happy to help. You may already have Dragon Medical. We're happy to provide some training. We do phone and email support. We're happy to do that for any practice. It doesn't matter where you bought Dragon. We have real experts here, having worked with hundreds of providers in virtually every EHR. We also provide other IT services and security services. You're welcome to connect with us about those things. The purpose of today, though, is to inform and educate. Hopefully we've done that. We said we'd be finished in a half hour. It's been a half hour. We're finished. Thank you very much for your attendance. I hope you've found this useful.